welcome to Shred Sessions. Today we have Unionville, Tennessee's very own Abated Mass of Flesh.
Yes, sir.
Welcome. We got
In
the
the
whole
flesh.
band. Yeah. So, thank you for coming out, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been watching you for a while, so it's an honor to like be on. Like
Oh,
you were just
thanks.
randomly at the 58 room show,
Yeah.
and I was talking to you with a buddy who came up to the merch table, and then you came up like 10 minutes later, and I was like, I didn't know you were here, and like we just hit it off and started talking, and here we are.
Dude, it was great to meet you at that show, man.
Absolutely.
That was a Destination single release show.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys were on the show like a couple weeks ago. But
Nice.
I had heard about this band just only a couple years ago. But I just realized that you guys have been around for like a little over 10 years.
Yeah.
With different members and stuff like that. But
Yeah, we started in 2011.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually pushing 15 years at this point. And yeah, that was just like a solo project that I started in my bedroom, you know? Like I just wanted to make like some sick, like disgusting, brutal death metal that was like Christian themed
Yeah.
and just have something different that like reflected, you know, my faith at the time and just make something as an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And it just picked up after that. Like people were interested in what I was doing. This is back when like stuff was just booming on Facebook more
Yeah.
as far as music and stuff goes, and they just took to it. You know, people really liked what we were doing, and just continued to make releases. And then I added my brother Matthew on the second EP, Brutal Death, to take over on lead vocals, because he contributed some guest vocals on a track on that first EP. It just sounded so sick. It's just that tone, that guttural tone of his voice was way different than what I was doing on that album.
Yeah,
And,
I was already in a band in high school, but it wasn't really working out. So he was like, "You just want to do vocals for my project?" So
Yeah, and it was and it was going to like stay just a project, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
we
bedroom
didn't have
project.
the attention to do a band. We were just like, let's just have fun.
And that's what we did. And eventually, around that time, we had a bassist that joined, and eventually found a drummer not long after that, and became like a full band. Like what, a year and a half or two into like our inception. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now let's do this. Can we go around and have you guys kind of introduce yourselves? Just tell us your name and what you do in Abated, and maybe tell us about where you live these days in Nashville. Because I'm assuming, I know I said Unionville, but that's that's where the brothers
we're a
are
little
from,
scattered.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead, Chris.
I'm Topher. I play the drums, and I live in Hendersonville, just a little bit north of Nashville. But yeah, it's about an hour drive away from where we practice, so not terrible.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
I'm Zack. I do guitars, and I live in Unionville, which is very close to like Shelbyville area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live right down the road from Zach. I'm the vocalist for Abated.
Hi, I'm Grant. I play the bass in Abated Mass of Flesh, and I live in Nashville. I live in East Nashville, over off like Trinity Lane.
Nice, man.
yeah, he's like 2 minutes from Dark Matter.
Yeah,
Oh,
but most of
nice.
our shows are in East Nashville. If we have a Nashville show,
Yeah.
so he's like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark Matter's a good spot.
Yeah.
What other spots have you guys played? Well, I guess the East Side Bowl recently.
Yeah, Arcane.
Arcane Workshop.
Arcane's
Yeah.
a good new
Yeah.
spot. Yeah.
That was the
Yes.
first time we played East Side Bowl. I never played there
I
before. That
love
was
that.
sick.
That space, man.
I didn't even know.
Shout out Jody.
Like
yeah.
I didn't know that many people were gonna be there, honestly, because you know we have some okay crowds in Nashville, but when we played that show, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I know Taylor Pace. He's been working really hard, like promoting his band on social media and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So he's grown a little bit. So, to be honest, I kind of expected a few more people to come out. To
Oh,
that
really?
Show.
That's
Like, I don't know.
funny. Yeah.
Maybe my expectations
Yeah.
are just
I guess-
out of whack sometimes. But
For us,
Yeah.
it was just different being like a Thursday night.
Yeah,
I
maybe
guess our
that's that.
expectations
Yeah, our
our
weekend
expectations
shows
were
look
low.
like that, but weekday shows don't normally look like that, you know?
Yeah,
So,
it's tougher to get people to come out.
yeah.
So, how long has this group of guys been playing in the band together?
Since I think last November.
Okay.
Something
Grant
around there, yeah.
Grant joined a couple years ago,
yeah.
back on the Doomed Inception EP, and we did a little tour like right after you joined.
Yeah.
Put out that EP, and Topher joined around what was it? I think it was like November when we started recording Rebirthing the Vile.
October or November. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the newest record that's out now.
Yeah.
It's Rebirthing the Vile, came out in March of this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
March 10th
April.
or something like that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so, Zach, you mentioned that like a lot of the earlier stuff you wrote yourself. How involved were the rest of you guys in the writing process of that record?
This one was like we were all
It's
really
pretty-
involved.
Yeah,
with
very
this.
combined effort
Yeah.
for that one. We would meet up like weekly, and then we'd try to like hash out one song of practice, and then we'd get like a rough demo recorded, and then we'd come back maybe that Saturday or something and like finalize it, and then we just do that for like, it took us like 2 or 3 months, but we got all the songs on there.
Yeah.
We have a storage unit in Murfreesboro, and that's where we all meet for practice. And Topher had microphones. He had a whole setup, and he's like, "Hey, let's mess around, record some stuff, and see how it turns out." And that's what eventually turned into the album, because we've used like experienced engineers and stuff before, and a lot of the earlier material I recorded myself and we done ourselves. But this time we wanted it to be like a real visceral sort of raw sound
it's like really good driving music, man. I was driving around today around Springfield, Tennessee, like, and it was like I'm looking at like trailer homes and stuff like that. I'm like, this is the perfect soundtrack to my Tennessee visual.
Yeah, every song was recorded separately, different days. So we try to make it as consistently sounding as we could.
And
But
with that,
hard,
it was difficult.
But
With that
Because
comes
each
some
mic was
challenges.
like differently placed. We try to get it as
try to get it as close as you can.
Yeah.
But
And it's just like the
one day it's
slightest
cold,
thing.
like cold weather will have a difference. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're in a storage unit.
And we
Like,
were
the
recording.
mics are cold right now, so
Yeah.
they sound weird. We gotta warm them up.
That's funny, man.
But like it just seemed like the slightest difference in mic placement changed like the whole tone of the guitar.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like at home trying to like mix it and adjust it to the other guitars that we've recorded and stuff. So it was a lot of tedious effort that was put into it.
Definitely a lot of trial and error.
Dude, I
Yeah.
love the guitar tone, man. What,
Dude, thank you.
So, did you mic a cab yourself
Yes.
for this? And let's talk about guitar like amps and stuff like that. Like, what did you end up using for the guitar sound on Rebirthing the Vile?
I've been using the 5150 head for a couple years now. And we used that, and it was just like a PV 412 cab.
Nice.
And what did we have going for you, Grant?
I think we DI'd him.
You were doing
sound.
okay. That's
that
right.
whole record was DI. Yeah, it was. But I was running. It's like an '83 G&L L2000 bass. It was like the last bass that Leo Fender built before he sold Fender, or I think it was after he left Fender. It was the first bass he created. But it's like a really hot, like warm humbucker pickup. Yeah, like great sound.
And what do you guys tune to in this band?
We're in drop E.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
sick. That's what I play in with my 8-string stuff.
Okay.
Nice.
I'll drop. I do the Archspire tuning a lot, at least lately. For a long time, like all the Zaphon stuff is all standard 8-string tuning, but like I started dropping the low string down to E, and then I'll drop the B string down to A, so I can have like drop D relationship or like Nile guitar, guitar riffs.
Yeah.
And then I
Have
have
a
the
tighter
low
tone.
E where I can play a traditional power chord, and it's kind of a cool thing. But do you it's all just standard tuning with just the drop E on the bottom?
Yeah, it's like E, B, E, A. It's basically we were using that tuning for quite a while, and then a couple years ago we went back to 7 strings and tuned up to drop G, and did that for a while just to kind of get a little bit of a tighter tone, and it just cuts through the record a little better in those songs, having it a little tighter. And then when we started Rebirthing the Vile, it was like, let's just go back down and break out the 8 string again and just tune it down to
I remember I
drop
was
E.
telling you, I was like, man, we need to go back to 8-string. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to go back.
Yeah. I think we just missed it. It was just having it with the bass behind it just made a world of difference once we started jamming with the 8s again.
Now, Grant, are you tuning your bass to drop E as well?
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
So,
it's a full octave below, E standard.
Wow.
Yeah,
What string gauge for the low?
I think I have a 180 on there right now, which is really you know,
That's a huge dream.
well, it's huge, but like a lot of people for that low of a tuning would want like a 200 or a 210. But I just like the flexibility of that lighter.
You have to file your nut down like on the guitar.
I actually didn't.
Not your actual nut.
Luckily.
Sorry.
Not yet.
No, yeah.
Maybe tonight.
My action's so low that it wasn't too bad.
Dude, I that was something I picked up on right away when I saw you guys play the 58 room. Is the bass guitar is clean, like it, you know, and a lot of metal bands these days they're playing a dingwall bass with a dark glass, and it's just super distorted.
Yeah,
and it's almost just like a third guitar in the band. You know?
Yeah.
But what I love about you guys is you have this kind of sub frequency thing going on. And then the guitars just sit right in that mid range, and then you've got the vocals, and it just all comes together. It's just so brutal, man. It's
It's like, I think
I couldn't help
just,
but like bang my head. Like
we have it to where like there's no set preferences. Like when we have everybody together in this band, it's like you do you. We want everybody, and so Topher brought his own style into the mix, and I think one of the like defining characteristics that his contribution brought was his snare tone.
oh, dude,
which is something that we have never
Yeah.
had before. We've always tried to play with pingy snares and mixes and stuff like that, but not like a full-on dirty tone that his snare brought to those mixes.
Dude, the snare on Rebirthing the Vile is something else,
Oh,
dude. It
thanks.
is special. Like,
and same with Grant, like just do your thing. And he comes from more of like a jazz background, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And you're playing. And yeah, it's just everybody kind of does their own thing, and it kind of is turned into
that's
what
what
it
makes
is.
for a unique metal band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I loved your drumming style too, Topher. Like a lot of drummers in, you know, technical brutal death metal, they're very tech oriented, but you're just groove, man.
Oh yeah,
and you've got some tasty fast fills too.
Yeah.
And but they're really creative, man, and really
Thank you.
well executed, dude.
Thank you.
And I love you're playing like an SQ2, like a Sonor kit.
No, that was just using the house kit there.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah,
Okay.
on my regular kit is an SJC,
Okay,
like a little
sick.
custom line, but it's just a small 3-piece, and then of course my snare. But
Yeah. Do you want to share any secrets of how you get your snare tone?
take off the snares and take off the bottom head, and then you basically just make a timbale, and then you rim shots only. Yeah, I mean,
Crank that thing up though, right?
Oh yeah,
Dude,
Yeah,
that's the
it's-
highest
yeah.
to
I've
the
ever
point.
heard,
And
bro.
I put a clear tom head on mine now. I used to use like a coated ebony head, but the tom head just resonates so much longer, and just the ping is
Mhm.
unreal.
Dude, that's kind of coming back around again, man.
Yes, I love it.
Like the is it Disgorge? I'm trying to think of like some of the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
Brutal Death.
Disgorge from California.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
and,
Discord.
Dripping, yes.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing is becoming more popular. Like Slam too. Like ever since Peeling Flesh put out their first like couple EPs,
Mhm.
Yes.
people are catching on, and like in the hardcore community, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is actually really amazing
Right.
music to listen to and just dance to.
Yeah.
You know?
It seems like people aren't so fixed on having like super high quality production too. A lot of these
Yeah.
bands popping up are just kind of like right up our alley. Just a super underground, dirty tone, pingy snare, crunchy guitars, and yeah, we love it.
Gutturals.
Yeah, the guttural
Yeah,
vocals.
dude. Yeah, Matthew, your vocals are insane, man.
Oh, thanks. I
I
appreciate
really
it. Yeah.
enjoyed it. My wife was like, I just didn't like that one band's vocals.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's always
I
like
was
that's
like-
a compliment. To
I was
me.
like, that's my favorite band of the night. You know, as much as I love all the bands, Clockwise.
Yeah.
Every band was
Yeah, dude,
killer.
yeah,
Dude, that
that
show
was
was
awesome.
intense.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it this morning. We're like, yeah.
But you
One of the
don't
best
see
shows.
that many bands playing slam, you know, in the scene, in the Nashville metal scene. you
Not in
know?
our scene either. Nashville, there's a lot of hardcore in Nashville.
A lot of hardcore.
Deathcore is probably the
Punk is
closest
just-
thing
yeah.
toward
Yeah,
to us
deathcore.
that we. But yeah, that's the thing. We don't see a lot of brutal slam and brutal death metal bands coming around. Like if they're touring, maybe.
Yeah.
You
And there's like scenes in like other states, that'll like have us come out and play. Like Arkansas, for instance, they had like a pretty thriving slam scene there for a while, and we were like frequent visitors and always coming out to play there. But it just felt that Tennessee never really, or at least Nashville, never really had much of a a scene for it.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that, man, and that's why I just think you guys are a special band, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, out of all the metal that you guys are into and that you listen to, what made you want to do slam metal? Which is arguably the most extreme form of metal that there is.
Sure. Well, like when I started the project, one band in particular. Not necessarily a slam band. I think they're from the Philippines. They're called Human Mastication. And it had that high ping snare, early Waking the Cadaver demo era sort of sound quality, and a vocal style that sounded very close to what Matt was doing. And I wanted to kind of replicate that sound a bit. And then like a year or two later, I heard of this band called Epicardiectomy. And I saw how simplistic and fun those riffs were, just slowing things down a bit and focusing more on groove, because I'm more of a groove player anyway. I'm more focused on just riff and groove. I'm not a technical player by any means. And I just felt really motivated to like embrace that sound and go for more of like a heavy, chunky, down-tuned slamming tone. And then I think the rest is history from there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. What about you, man? You're a jazz player. What made you want to get involved in this kind of music?
Well, when I was younger, it was kind of my first love musically. It was metal. I was listening to a lot of like hardcore bands, like A Day to Remember and like Devil Wears Prada and stuff when I was like 13 or whatever in middle school.
You get some super skinny pants, dude.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think we all had those.
I had the purple skinny jeans.
I had turquoise.
Yeah, nice.
I had green.
Super small Levi's.
Yeah.
Did
you have your keys
Toms.
hang it? Like, did you ever put your keys on your
I usually
belt
put
loop?
them in my pocket because they were like stretch pants.
Yeah.
All those mosh pits back in the day, everyone in their skinny jeans, all you hear was
my
keys.
gosh.
And
I was the
this
kid
time-
in high school wearing the death metal t-shirts. Everybody looked at me all weird. My hair was like this long, like all down my shoulders.
You were a true death metal warrior. Back
Hey,
then.
in Unionville,
Poses out of here.
that's completely strange in Unionville. I'll tell you.
This is out in the country. Yeah.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I was like really influenced by like the early deathcore stuff, but I dove into like the early death metal stuff too, like the, Butchered at Birth, Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were
Decapitated,
jamming like Decapitated
Winds of
and
Creation.
Suffocation, and
Yeah.
Matt got into the more extreme stuff before I did even.
I was
And,
always trying to like up his game. Like he would show me
I
like
was like getting into melodic metalcore.
he was showing me like
and-
Kill Switch Engage, and I was like dying.
He's like,
I was
check
like,
out this.
oh yeah, well, what? And I would be on LimeWire. You remember LimeWire?
Oh
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I was just looking up death metal bands on Metal Archives, and there's Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation. And you ever heard of this? And it's like, "Roar," and he's like, damn, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, he kind of turned me on to like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we went to like Scream the Prayer, and that kind of really got us influenced, I think.
that is true. Yeah, there was a lot. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember Scream the Prayer tour back in the day?
I went to a couple of them. I think I joined As Hell Retreats in 2012.
Oh, dude, I probably saw you.
Probably,
Rocket
man.
Town, I was there a lot.
Dude.
Yeah.
But they were on Scream the Prayer like the year before I joined the band, and I was in another band that we were like, I guess they had a couple local band, like we weren't necessarily a local band, but we somehow got on the Scream the Prayer just for one show. I was in a band called Skies. We were in central Kansas.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
By the way, like Kansas and Oklahoma are huge slam territories.
Yes.
Yeah.
OKC.
Were you on
Yeah.
any of the? Were you on the last As Hell Retreats album at all?
I never recorded anything with
Okay.
them, man. I
Yeah,
just was a live guitar player.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you could call me an official member of the band or
Yeah.
something, but
That's
I
cool.
played with that band for like 9 months.
Nice. I
You
didn't know.
know, and
Yeah.
I don't keep in contact with the other guys. I mean, occasionally I will, but like Tyler's in Gideon now.
Oh,
Tyler
okay.
Riley.
Yeah.
And Blake Hardman plays in Chiodos.
Oh.
So
I didn't know
they're
that.
in some pretty big bands, but
Yeah.
I've been like, yo, dude, come on the show.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I'd
Yeah,
love
it was
to get
that,
on, but
that first Scream the Prayer. I had just graduated high school and I was getting into more intense music.
Yeah.
And it had like With Blood Comes Cleansing on the bill. It had Impending Doom when they
Yeah,
released
dude.
Nail Dead Risen.
Yeah.
And that was an album that was like a huge staple for
Oh,
us
yeah.
starting
Yeah.
out was
And-
Nail Dead
and
Risen. And
you-
even the EP before that, The Sin and Doom of Godless Men, which was just intense with that pingy snare
Yeah.
and raw sound.
I would say No Dead Risen really, really influenced us a lot starting out, because you flip over the back of that CD and all the members are wearing like Cannibal Corpse and Suffocation shirts and
And we were buying up the Face Down catalog back in the day. We were always like on our hands and knees in dusty record shops, just grabbing any metal and physical media.
I bought Zayo's like almost their whole discography, just digging in these dusty totes.
Did someone have it all together?
No, I had to
dump their collection.
It was just a bunch of different totes, and I was like, Zayo, there's a Zayo in this tote, and then it was just like, I think I got like 5 Zayo CDs.
And we found out about a lot of like obscure extreme metal bands that way, just in record shops. And when Nail Dead Risen came out, that was like definitely a huge influence for us. And then the Scream the Prayer tour came around like the following year, I think.
Yeah.
And we got the chance to see them for the first time and all those bands. So yeah, Scream the Prayer and going to like those like Christian hardcore metal shows was like a huge influence for us too.
Yeah.
Starting out.
Me too. I mean, that's how I got into it. I grew up in the church, wanted to listen to heavier music, the Christian rock. It was like there was a whole industry for it, and then of course Christian metal spun out of that. The Cornerstone Music Festival was a huge aspect of Christian metal. And then in 2012, like I think culturally it just kind of fell out of fashion in a big way.
Yeah.
But I think most of the Christian scene is online. Like there's a lot of solo projects and a lot of, including myself, pretty much. But yeah, it's kind of sad that like a tour like Scream the Prayer that was so well attended it's not a thing anymore.
I went to every single one.
Yeah, it was such a great tour,
Sick.
So Christian metal is what got like the brothers into
metal. Big time.
Or especially just more
me too,
of the brutal Christian stuff. Like with Blood Comes Cleansing, that album when that came out, that was
like horror had a lot of like slam influence on it. Songs like Abaddon's Horde, just stuff that was just straight to the point, simple, guttural. But we were also listening to other stuff too, like all the brutal bands we mentioned before, and even like some deathcore stuff like Oceano was coming around that time too.
Suicide Silence, first album.
Carnifex, all that stuff. What were you jamming around this time? Early 2010s.
Oh, probably like Demon Hunter, because I listened to a lot of Christian metal growing up, just because my dad was a pastor, or he still is, but.
Yeah, Demon Hunter's a staple band.
Man, I love
also.
Parkway Drive when I was a kid.
Yes, like Becoming the Archetype.
Yeah,
he went to the same concert I did. I didn't even know I didn't even know him, but he was at the Devil Wears Prada show.
Yeah.
They were just about to release their third album. Really?
Yeah.
What the date, you remember?
Yeah. I must have been like 12 or 13.
Yeah, I was in 10th grade or something like that, I think.
But it was all like Solid State and Face Down bands that we were getting into around the time.
There was some great bands on those two labels.
Yeah.
Well, tonight you guys are playing. You're playing at the Revel House in Clarksville. That's why we're able to pull this off. Otherwise, it honestly is kind of hard to get up to this part of the state. Like on an average, traffic is just crazy, and you guys had traffic on the way here. So, how did you guys get invited to play? With Autumn Lies Buried and I think it's Casket Robbery. I can't remember the other
Grime.
band.
Yeah,
Grime.
There's another one. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm blanking right now. But we played with them last year in Knoxville. We were at the Carnes Community Center, and they were headlining the bill. And I think that we just kind of knew of them and they knew of us for years, but we never really, played any shows together. But yeah, we met them last year in person and just kind of hit it off. And, really cool dudes. Great band too.
They're
like,
super
really
tight,
heavy.
man.
Yeah.
They definitely get the crowd going. Like the vocalist is sick. He's saying jokes on stage and stuff.
Oh yeah, he's
keeping it
unhinged.
loose.
You never know what that anyone in that band is gonna say.
Yeah.
So yeah, be ready for that tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, it'll be wild. So some of those guys have been. Actually, they've all been to my house. We made like fried chicken one time. We had like mac and cheese, fried chicken, beans. We did the whole Southern thing.
Nice.
We did a Toys for Tots show with them last year. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think it's awesome. I just think it's sick that you guys are playing more shows. Is that something that the band wants to do? Like, you guys want to possibly tour, or like what does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to go on, at least a couple tours during the year, like out to different states.
Even if they're
I mean,
smaller ones, like 1 week here and then 1 week at the end of the year.
Which we've always been able to function that way. Just like get some vacation time together and hit the road for a week.
Yeah.
If an opportunity comes up. But since Rebirthing the Vile, we've pretty much hit it off strong with being like these weekend warrior types. Just getting
we
a
just
lot
get
of
asked to play shows, and then we just send it a group text. Hey, can you guys play this? Yeah, let's do it. If we can't do it, then we'll play the next one.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty flexible as far as like weekend shows go, unless there's like family stuff going on or whatever. But yeah, it's just been pretty good for us, and people have just asked us if we can play shows a lot lately, so we've been able to do a lot more, and it's been great.
Dude, it's nice to have a band like you guys on a bill. We're like, there's a lot of deathcore bands, I'm just gonna be honest, in Nashville playing shows.
Yeah.
So like seeing 4 deathcore bands play almost the same style, like almost the same, like it sounds very similar,
Yeah.
Right.
It's I think we need to do more mixed bill stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We like the mixed
A
bill
hardcore
shows.
band,
Yeah.
a slam band, a death metal band. Like there's just very few death metal
Yeah,
bands.
and like it can feel a little awkward and out of place sometimes too when we're playing with bands that are very, heavy and very like gear centered and just really technically proficient musicians, and we're just playing caveman slams,
Yeah.
and like we just plug in and go, and
Yeah, dude.
very low maintenance, and it's like, and we're just always shocked and stunned by having such talented musicians appreciate what we do. It's just like
I think some of the sound guys kind of like freak out when they come up there and like set stuff up. They're like, you guys good? You sure? You're like, yep, we're ready. Let's, like, because I guess a lot of bands are kind of like, hey, can I get this and that, man? And hey, man, I need a little bit, like, but we're not really picky. We're just kind of like, we're good.
I was talking to Zach after the show. I was like, man, how do you get that tone, bro? And you're like, I just plug into straight in the front of the amp. I was like, stop it, dude.
No, we don't use there's no pedals at all.
Yeah, no pedals at all.
Natural tone.
Yeah.
What is your gain set to on that amp?
It is at about halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's touchy because there's a lot of like breaks and pauses in our set. So in the last show we played at 58 Room, just the feedback issues can be killer sometimes.
Yeah.
So
if you have a guitar coming through the monitor back at you, like impossible to even with a noise gate.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that we don't like have that perfection though, you know what I mean? Like I like a little bit of error in there. It's just human to have that. Yeah. In my opinion,
exactly.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that about you guys too. Bands are using 10,000. Local bands are now using like $10,000 and $15,000 like in-ear monitoring systems that they built themselves, which is sick. Like I've played in bands that do that, and if you play to tracks,
that's when it really
you kind of
helps.
have to do that.
Yeah,
right.
But, and it can cause issues too. We've had shows in the past where people were trying to set a lot of stuff up like that, and it cut into the showtime, and sets had to get cut short because of all that sort of stuff.
We've had to cut like 3 songs out of our set before because there was a band that before us that was setting up.
That shouldn't fly, man.
Right.
Like I hate to like be a dick, but if you're the one wasting time, then you cut your songs, not. But there's this like hierarchical thing in local scenes based on followers or I don't know. People have like some kind of numbers thing going on in their head.
Yeah,
sometimes it's not even numbers; it's just ego or like.
Exactly. Yeah. I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, like how like some local bands just have monster egos, and it's like, bro, we're all in the bottom here, man.
Yeah,
we're all just bottom feeders here, bro.
Yeah. We've been to several
just
shows in the
up.
past where you can just tell the vibe is different.
Yeah.
When you enter, it's like, you can just tell like things are off and things are tense. People aren't really, just something's off,
I didn't get that vibe from you guys at all. I was like, man, these guys are just real and raw.
We really just do this for fun. Like we're not trying to make it big or anything. This is like a vacation for me. This band, like, like even doing little tours is so fun for me.
I always say it's
like
it's very important to like get along with your bandmates, because these guys here, my best friends.
Yeah.
And
likewise.
It's just incredible to like be able to write music together, record music together, and play all these shows. everybody gets along. It's just a really good environment.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
he's
know,
he's my brother, but he doesn't even feel like my brother. Yeah, like
that's true.
Wait,
Yeah.
that's your brother?
yeah. You just now found out. You're like, what? Stop the podcast. What?
We'll make a clip out of that.
Yeah.
that'll be good.
So all of you guys do stuff outside of music. You know, I would be interested to know, like, how do you guys balance like your work, your family, and music? Like, how, like, because it is a lot to be involved in a band as a 30 or 40 something year old, you know, however old you guys are.
Yeah.
I find it to be difficult, but maybe we could start with Topher and just kind of go around, like how do you balance like life, work, music, all that kind of stuff?
I'm lucky in the sense that I guess I'm still young-ish. I'm like 24.
Wow.
And I don't have a kid, or I have a girlfriend, but I don't have a wife. And I have a full-time job that I work Monday through Friday. And so my weekends are pretty free and my evenings are pretty free. So I just, whenever they're like, hey, let's practice, I'm like, okay. Or we got a show? Yeah, I'll make time. So for me, it's not too hard. But, you know, there are a couple of things I got to move around every now and then. But
yeah,
that's
I'd say
about it.
same for me. Like, I'm just incredibly lucky to have the opportunity to be doing it like 15 years later. You know, like it's insane.
Mhm.
And I mean, with that comes like a desire and a will to do it. You like have to want to do it. And that desire just never fell away from me. And thankfully, you know, I've got a full-time job too that is open on weekends too, to be able to do stuff here and there. And there's restrictions, but we all just kind of work around it and just kind of find that our schedules kind of match up pretty well collectively.
Yeah, they work out pretty well.
I think it's funny though, because the way the order is going is the more difficult our schedules are.
Oh, yeah.
Because like, okay, I have like 2 kids and a wife.
Yeah.
So
and he's
like
got
getting
school
closer and
and
closer
yeah,
to the
work.
and his work schedule, he gets off pretty late.
And he has,
So
you got school.
Yeah, you've got school and
he's got school and work. And,
yeah,
For me,
and that's the thing too. Like, I'm 36, and so I've already been through school, and you know, I've got you know, a wife and
he's the band dad.
I'm the baby.
I'm the band dad,
The beard fooled me.
and
I know it fools
I
everyone.
was like, this guy is 32.
if I shave it, I'll look like a baby again.
yeah, but I mean, I would say like overall, like there's balance there, like in the band. It's pretty easy for all of us.
And
to,
nobody
like,
gets
make
mad
rehearses work.
if we're like, sorry guys, I can't play that show. It's like, no worries.
Yeah, like we'll get around to it. It's like I'm in school and I like have a part-time job too, but like typically like weekends are open, which makes it like easy
Nice.
for us to just meet up over the weekend.
Yeah.
What
If
are you
it's
going to
like
school for, if you don't mind me asking?
Like data science and like software development.
Oh, awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
That
smart.
seems like a good career choice.
I hope
He's
so.
smart.
He's
boy.
the smartest guy in the band.
I don't think that's true.
he's the brains of this
Usually
operation.
that's
that's
true.
right.
Usually the bass players are.
He's a jazz guy. He's like,
That's
Yeah,
right.
he's
That's
Mr.
not
Music
true.
Theory over there.
Like the jazzy
Don't lie to
bass player
yourself.
playing in drop E, double drop E.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, we have a pretty good balance, and yeah, it works out most of the time.
Seems like it, man.
if it's a show that's like, guys, we gotta play this show. It's like, we'll make it work.
We'll
then.
make
It's
it
always
work.
like it just feels like vacation. Like
Yeah,
I'm always
it
like
does.
like I'll work like a full day, you know, like full shift at work, and like whenever I'm getting off to go to band practice, like I'm always just like excited. Like it feels like a breath of fresh air to like come and like play with them, and like
Yeah.
it's never.
Yes.
I'm always like just looking forward to it like all day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sick. Now, some people are like, I want to do music full time. I gotta somehow make money doing my art. And like, have you guys ever wanted to do that? Like, what do you think about
if I
that
could-
way of
If we
doing it?
could,
would.
that would
Sure.
that's definitely
I think-
a desire.
At the beginning, when we first started as a band, you know, when we had our first drummer and we were like, man, this could be something. Because I was young and Zach was young, and like, maybe we could do this full time. And then we kind of realized, like, I don't know.
We were signed to a label at the time, and it kind of made us wide-eyed.
Yeah.
You know, when we first started out, like,
Mhm.
this is an open path for us to turn this into something bigger than we intended. And life happens.
Yeah, you know.
Things
Yeah, you
change,
gotta pay
and
for
I
stuff.
think at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point, it would be really stressful to just drop everything and try to do it full time.
It would honestly-
unless I won the lottery or something, I would totally do it. I'd be like, hey
it
guys,
would-
everybody,
that'd be
I'm
sick,
gonna pay
man.
for it all.
And we were
Yeah.
we were talking about this on the way here, like how much the desire for it has to remain strong. And when it turns into a burden and finances and business and stuff starts to get involved, it just kills our vibe. And
we could take away the creativity process.
that's true too. Yeah. It just
Don't want
kind
to
of
make it seem like a job.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to approach it. I think a lot of bands, they put like crazy pressure on themselves, like, oh, we got to print this merch, and then, well, now we got to play all these shows to try to sell the merch, and it's like, man, you're just putting like, just sell the merch that you have, and like, you know,
Exactly.
order more when you have more money. Like,
it's not worth stressing over. You know, like you just have to enjoy doing it. And that's just like the funnest thing for us, is to go out and play shows and meet people and chat and hang out. And yeah, there's like little things we can obsess over, and you know, there's hiccups here and there, obviously, but you just have to keep a positive attitude about it.
And we've been doing everything DIY more and more every year. Like, as far as like, you know, I started printing our merch.
Yeah, you do our shirts.
I found out how to screen print, so I started doing our shirts. Zach's, you know, making the CDs. Every now and then I'll make tapes for us.
Nice.
You know, so
I love tapes, dude.
yeah, we're just like do it ourselves, and then we don't have to like worry about like messaging people like and the labels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not to say that like labels and distribution stuff doesn't help and it's not beneficial. I'm sure it is. It's just an avenue that we've been down before and have had some experience with it, and think that we feel comfortable enough right now to handle everything ourselves with where we're at. So yeah, we do our own design work, our own t-shirts for the most part, and of course we outsource work too, because we want like some variety in what we do.
We'll hire somebody to do some artwork for us or something.
Just as far as like the aesthetic and stuff goes. I've handled all of like the graphic design in the past for our album covers, and then over the last 3 or 4 years I started like hiring out different artists to get a different look and a different aesthetic to like our album art.
Oh, the art on Rebirthing the Vile is super sick, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that guy was very, very talented. Matthew just happened to see that piece online and asked, you know, hey, like, ask this guy about grabbing this piece. And, you know, we talked prices and got it. And I, you know, had turned it green. It was like originally like a gory red pink cover. And we've never like used green tones on an album cover before. So I just kind of changed the color tone and added some things here and there to kind of make it what it is. So it's sort of a collaborative effort, but it ended up being really cool.
I was just scrolling through Instagram and I was like, oh, damn, that would be sick. We got to get this.
Kind of reminds me of H.R. Geiger. It's like a green, like H.R. Geiger thing in a way. Geiger, I don't know. We were just talking about Rebirthing the Vile and how like Topher wrote Rodent Infested, which is my personal favorite track from the record. So does everyone in the band write for this new record, or what was the writing process for this?
We all had a pretty good take on it. I mean, I actually wrote a song. I wrote the first song.
The first song.
Just
play
because,
guitar too?
A little bit, but just mess around at home. But I did this little demo thing.
It was for Eternal Torment, the opening track.
I was like, hey, I made this like slam thing for fun, and it had vocals and everything on it, and that drum program, and I showed them at practice, and Zach started playing it, and we just like, dude, this sounds cool.
Yeah, and then Topher contributed to Rodent Infested. He had that whole thing already written. Yeah, how did you say that you wrote that, or when?
I wrote that at my dad's house, just in his garage, but I recorded the drums first. You know, I kind of like had a idea for what I had or what I wanted, and so I recorded that first, and then I would just like listen to it over and over and try to fill in, and then I got it that way. But that was a pretty interesting way to write songs.
That is interesting, man. Starting with the drums.
Yeah.
And we used some older material. We used an older song of ours called The Killer in Me, which was on the second EP back in 2012. And we used it on the Omen King album too. So it would be the third time doing that song. And we just started playing it live.
Yeah, it was going to be like a recording test to see like how my mic setup worked, and like because I had recorded some like the Piss Fetish, Rodent Infested stuff, and so we just wanted to see what it sounded like, and it turned out really good. So they were like, let's just drop it as a redux or whatever.
It's like it'll be the third time doing it, but like if we started playing it live and we're just like, this feels good in our set, let's like work it into the EP like with this latest incarnation of it, and we all just kind of collaborated and worked together on it and contributed our own parts here and there for it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So who mixed and mastered the record?
I mixed it. Topher did the recording.
Yeah.
And then I did the mixing and mastering for it.
Nice.
The guy from Defeated Sanity.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Josh from Defeated
The
Sanity
vocalist
mastered
from Defeated
it.
Sanity
Oh,
did the
dude.
mastering.
I normally use a program online to do some mastering with my own stuff, but no, Josh from Defeated Sanity, their vocalist, mastered it for us.
Yeah.
Oh, sick, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He did-
like I'm
he
a
did a good
huge
job.
Defeated Sanity
Same.
fan.
I can tell.
As you can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
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 I love them, dude.
Yeah,
So good.
they're amazing. The Chronicles of Lunacy is a great
Oh.
record, but I really love
Passages into
Sanguinary
Deformity.
Impetus, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
the red one, the one
Yeah.
before
Same.
that,
Yeah.
Yes.
which I think is all Lily Gruber playing. I think he plays
Is it?
guitar and
Right.
drums on
Yeah.
that
Okay.
record.
Yeah, that guy's a wizard.
Insane,
Man.
dude.
I didn't know like on some of their albums they did it like live, like they just recorded
Yeah,
the
dude,
guitars.
they record that stuff live in the studio.
Yeah,
It's,
That's insane.
it's like without messing up. What? It's like
Yeah.
My introduction to them was like, I think it's like Passages into Deformity,
Okay.
the Green album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buying that back in the day, and it was just mind blowing. And it's been cool to just see them consistently put out challenging music.
Yeah.
You know, and keeping the quality the way they do is insane. Like I love how their stuff isn't just like overly produced to the
Yes.
max.
Right.
They keep that raw quality with every album. That's just
Yeah.
a defining trait of their sound.
I guess you'd call it like it's technical death metal, but it slams. You know, it's a slamming
Yeah.
technical death metal.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate how they are. Yeah, they're recording that stuff live. They're not like, man. Some of these tech death bands sound like they're just like running Guitar Pro, you know, like the software into and they're reamping it. It doesn't even sound like there's this. I don't know how to explain it really, but it just sounds very computerized.
Yeah.
you know,
I
to
got
me.
it. Yeah.
But when I started listening to Defeated Sanity, like I was just like, man, this is how death metal should sound, and it sounds
Yes.
heavier to me.
Yeah, and like
like,
with that Passages into Deformity album, it came with a DVD, so it shows like behind the scenes of how they recorded that album. And yeah, micing up amps, doing everything the natural way.
right.
Yeah, it's all
I think
there.
it's like the mics that make it more heavier, more bassier versus just plugging it right into something. Like
Yeah, totally.
something about the room and the.
Well, we talked
The
about
cab,
that off
yeah.
camera just a little bit ago. How with a lot of modern metal, the velocity is just cranked. You
Yeah.
know, the drums, you know, everything's hitting at 127, right?
Yeah.
Like the program drums or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But what adds a total vibe and mood to a metal recording, in my opinion, is when you don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
and on Rebirthing the Vile, you guys didn't do that. You recorded real drums.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Well, it's almost like everything. Everybody's on automation, you know? But it's somehow it's
Yeah.
all kind of like linking up as the waves are going. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know, like those little quiet parts. Somebody's louder in that quiet part. Yeah,
Right.
that kind of comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that. And the other thing we were talking about with the bass guitar, how you play clean bass, you know, I think that really adds to just the heaviness, in my opinion, rather than everything being automated, even live, you know, going through like playing with a laptop and having the noise gate automated. You
Yeah,
know?
well,
yeah.
it's just like there's room.
Which is cool, but
There's room
Yeah.
for everyone's like frequency to like stand alone and say its own thing. that
Right.
way,
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
know?
say it felt roomier. Like
Yeah.
there was more space in the recordings, and it
Yeah.
wasn't.
This
so
was the
just-
first
Yeah.
album that I did vocals where I couldn't hear my vocals in the headphones. Like I just heard it from a speaker behind me.
Yeah.
Like I was doing vocal.
Oh,
I could
yeah,
hear the
you-
song in
the
my
way we
headphones.
recorded this album was absolutely
It was crazy.
weird and
Yeah, I'm in
If you isolate those tracks, you'll hear us goofing around in the background.
Yeah.
and-
I have like
you
one.
can
I have
like
headphones,
boost the
but
vocal track.
One is I have one headphone off so I can hear the track on the speaker
some of
behind
that's
me.
coming into your mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the most raw, like
we would like
Yeah.
approach.
I'd be behind the drums and it would be like them three at the table with the laptop and then they just hit R and I'm like, all right, I gotta play the whole song from memory real quick. Got it. Now it's time for the guitars
Yeah.
to record. So now we have the drums that I just recorded coming out the PA and the cabs on the other side of the room facing the wall with the mic. So it
Yeah.
doesn't,
And we're just
we
like
put it like a
out-
little soundboard around it so it kind of stays in there.
We're just like outside the
Like,
storage
alright.
unit listening to Matthew's belching gutturals come out and
Yeah.
like of the
It
storage
works.
unit, and it
It
works.
works
And
out
like
great.
Topher's little recording
But
station was
learned a
literally
lot, so
my
it'll be
guitar case
be a
set up
lot
on
easier
a
next time.
keyboard stand with
Yeah.
a laptop. Like it was just all like super DIY for sure.
And Topher
Yeah.
took like all of his drum takes and like it took like 1 or 2 takes for like every
Usually.
song. You just run back.
It was
there,
so fast.
play
though.
the song like perfect, and they'd be like, "All right, your turn's up."
Yeah.
Like, it was like so fast.
You're
like,
next.
how we got it done.
Man.
Like,
And then we'd go eat Mexican, and then we'd come back and do vocals.
Camino Real, Murfreesboro.
Yeah, that's
Shout
the
out.
secret.
Love you.
Shout out to
Real is the-
Camino.
dude, it's the Murfreesboro spot.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so
I
good.
used to go there like
You know what's
once a
up.
week, dude.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Oh, man.
Did you used to live in Murfreesboro? Or?
Yeah, I lived in Bell Buckle. I taught at the web school. I taught guitar there for
cool.
4 years, kind of around like the time of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was a great job. Honestly, it's the best job I've ever had, man.
Yeah.
I love that part of the state, man. Like Shelbyville.
It's so
Bell
nice out
Buckle.
there.
Yeah.
I used to go running on, like, I used to listen to Defeated Sanity and go running on like these back roads, man, and there'd be like maybe one car
Yeah.
that, like drives by
Yeah.
while I'm running. So it was sick. Get chased by dogs sometimes, but
Yeah.
but Camino Real, me and another teacher would go there like on Fridays, like after school. You
Oh,
know,
cool,
just
yeah.
roll over there like 3 or
good.
4 p.m.
It's a good
Crush
vibe.
a couple beers, maybe a margarita.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and some
we get
chips.
me and Matt. We get the big Dos Equis,
Yeah.
And Topher, get the Topher bowl.
the Topher Bowl.
What's the Topher Bowl?
Well,
That's the Waffle House.
I have like a Waffle House like order that's just it's like the hash brown bowl with a couple other things. It's the Topher Bowl.
should you
I couldn't
reveal
finish
it?
it.
Dude, let us-
I was like, I'll have what he's having, and I was like,
Yeah,
I can't eat
I
it.
couldn't finish
Okay,
it
let's-
either.
Should we tell the recipe? And
Let's
Yeah,
do
sure.
Waffle House orders.
Okay,
right
it's
now.
the sausage, egg, and cheese hash brown bowl, and you're gonna want to add bacon, add onions, and gravy, and then you eat that. Maybe if you're feeling spicy, throw a little hot sauce on there,
Oh,
or
yeah.
maybe ketchup.
That's a
if you're
hangover bowl
wimp.
right there, dude.
The hangover bowl.
It's
Yeah,
alcohol,
it-
alcohol absorption plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like 3 a.m. and I'm yeah.
Yeah.
That is the Topher Bowl, but
Yeah.
okay.
I'm vegan, so I can't eat anything at Waffle House.
can't eat
But
the Topher
the
bowl.
Camino, they have a legit like veggie bowl with like pinto beans, avocado, and just an assortment of vegetables. It's like the perfect meal for me. So every time I go, I just get like the veggie bowl with the pinto beans and cilantro, like guacamole and
Yeah.
all kinds
We
of
usually
stuff.
eat with the church crowd when we go.
Yeah,
out.
we're usually there when
yeah.
the church crowd.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, for a while,
Some
That
good
whole record,
fellowship.
It was like every
Mexican food is
Sunday
good
we'd
for,
go there.
for vegans, man. Like it works, you know. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of protein, some good fats in the avocados.
Mhm. Yep,
Yep.
So
absorb those nutrients.
Yeah. I like that from Waffle House. I like the melts, the burgers, what is it, the Texas melt or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
oh yeah, those
yeah.
are pretty good.
Yeah, but I get no bacon.
you know, they
I'm
brought
not
back
big on
the steak. Apparently,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Nice.
The Waffle House steak.
We'll have to hit it up.
Flip flop.
Yeah, but I like to order the all-star breakfast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a classic, dude. With
Yeah.
a cup of coffee, like a grandpa. You
Oh
know?
yeah,
It's
no,
like-
totally. Yeah, and I like
Yeah.
to like just like throw the sausage on the toast, like buttered toast, jelly in the sausage, and just like eat it.
If I'm like desperate, I might like get some hash browns or something
Yeah.
from Waffle House.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But if anything, he'll get a protein bar at the gas station, then he'll bring it to
Yeah,
Waffle
I'll bring
House.
it in and eat it.
Yeah, the wrapper.
Waffle House is important because like when you're in a touring band, you know the show. It's the only place open after a concert lets out. You
Yeah.
know,
It really
by the
is.
time you load your trailer, it's like midnight or 1 in the morning. So you
It
get a
used
couple
to be,
bands
Unless you're
together.
lucky enough to find a Denny's.
It used to be
Yeah.
Steak and Shake back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
Yeah,
every show we
had-
play, we go to Steak and Shake. Like,
yeah. You weren't vegan when we ate steak shake, did you?
I think it was like maybe vegetarian at the time, but yeah, we
Yeah.
would always hit up Steak and Shake.
We used to play
after
Mount
shows.
Juliet a lot, and we were kind of getting in that scene a little bit with the bands that were coming out of there at
Yeah.
the time. And we would you go to Steak and Shake. I think we went there like 2 or 3 times. Just
Yeah,
goofed off
I've
in the
been to
parking
that
lot.
one.
You know?
Yeah, I've been to that Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
Nice. So one of the things I wanted to ask you guys, the Abated Mass of Flesh started as a Christian metal band.
Mhm.
And I know that's like a hot button issue. You know, it's like
Oh, yeah.
people either hate Christian metal, some people don't even consider it metal at all, because metal is like the antithesis of like organized religion.
Mhm.
So there's that aspect of it. But I know you guys came up in the church and were, Christian metal like ultimately inspired you to make your own band.
Mhm.
How do you guys, what made you kind of not want to be involved in Christian metal anymore or make this band not a Christian band?
Well, Matt and I weren't particularly raised in a Christian family or like a religious family per se. It's something that we kind of came into on our own. And yeah, we were going to church and doing all of that.
So your parents weren't necessarily Christians?
It's just it's something that we just never talked about.
Yeah.
Religion and politics were never talked about in our family growing up. And it was just something that we came to on our own.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful to have parents that didn't push any particular belief or worldview on us at an early age. And Matt and I just kind of came up and tested the waters for ourselves.
We had a lot of friends in high school, or like high school, junior high for me, that were friends. It was like his friends, and then their younger brothers were friends of mine. So we all just like, hey, you guys should come out to church, like Vacation Bible School, and we go hang out and just started goofing off and stuff. And then we started going on Sunday mornings with our girlfriends and stuff like that because they went to church. Girls will get you in, man.
And then I would say like things started to get serious high school. Yeah. Maybe with all of that. And it was definitely a journey. I was struggling with anxiety issues. I would say an anxiety disorder around the time I started Abated. And so the faith was very important to me, very close to me and personal. And we were becoming inspired by these Christian hardcore metal shows we were going to, and just seeing the level of like camaraderie, fellowship, with these bands, and just hanging out with fans after the shows and praying. Like it was just, the vibe was just so real, and it kind of exposed us to a level of fellowship that we haven't really felt or experienced before. Yeah, and especially in like a conventional church.
I was like, this is better than church.
Yeah,
and playing a show at Christian show, I was like, yeah, this is way better than like.
And we were working. We were doing missionary work with Pastor Bob in Nashville for the Sanctuary International, and that was a whole church unto itself, which it was a house church basically.
Yeah.
And getting that level of fellowship was important and a new thing for us compared to like brick and mortar building. You know? But yeah, things started changing for me probably 6 years ago. Started questioning my faith a little bit, dug a little deeper into some topics that I was kind of ignoring as a believer, that I didn't really, fixate on or just put in the back of my mind, because I noticed as a believer, I would be challenged with certain points from some folks on certain things. And I remember the level of anxiety and shock it would cause me. I wasn't knowledgeable enough to defend those beliefs against that. And I would just suppress it.
Yeah.
And, not come back to it. And I challenged myself probably 6 years ago to start confronting some of those issues that I was, suppressing. And 6 years later, just basically came out an unbeliever. And, that wasn't the goal or the intention. I was just trying to see where it led me, and doing a lot of research and questioning myself. And I needed to be honest with myself and our fans and supporters. And the truth was what I was fixated on. And I just felt like I didn't have enough there to be convinced, that all of it was factually true. And Christianity is such a diverse thing. We were just talking about it.
Oh yeah.
On the way up here, just how diverse the belief is, and how it's hard to find one Christian to agree with.
One Christian, and the next one you meet has a completely different view about certain topics.
It's different, and our supporters, like you said, it can be a very toxic thing, a very legalistic and toxic thing. And that's kind of what it was in our case.
God to justify certain acts and stuff like that, certain beliefs.
Yeah.
Well, like all religions kind of do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in like really weird ways.
It's also just kind of like part of like how you grow. It's like you're young. You kind of get forced into the church by
your peers and
all your peers, and like you should come out to church, and like and then they make you feel kind of like, sometimes church makes you feel like guilty, like, I know there's a sinner out there. Come up to the altar.
Those altar calls, man. Those altar calls.
And then people start crying and stuff. It's like, you just made people cry.
A lot of it is emotional manipulation in a way.
A lot.
I kind of saw that just right away. I was like, this is kind of messed up to me. I don't know. It just felt weird. And I stopped going to church. I told my girlfriend at the time, I was like, I just don't want to go to church anymore. I don't feel it just something's not right. And then I started playing those shows and stuff with Abated, and it's like this feels like authentic to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then as older I get, I'm just kind of like my thought process started just changing. I don't know what
people change.
Yeah,
that's just simple as it is.
Yeah.
I changed over time, and it's not to say Christianity is not a beautiful thing. I still have an admiration for it. I'm still open to being a believer again. Obviously, it's just my standards a bit higher than it used to be as a believer. But there's no ill will or hostility towards the belief itself. It's just
it's not like we hate Christians or like we're not on stage saying
I play a church gig every Sunday.
I still listen to a lot of Christian metal. Like most of my playlist is all the Christian metal that I grew up.
It's who we are. I mean, it shaped Christianity, and Christian metal shaped us into who we are today. And it's like, well, I'm very thankful and appreciative for what the community and we don't have like bad experiences. Like we were never done wrong by people or anything that turned us away from the faith. It's all just an internal dialogue and internal critique that we've, faced over the years. And this is just where we're at now. It's not a permanent fixed position because I'm open to change, and I'm sure I'll change in the future. I just, this is just where we're at right now.
Yeah.
All we can do is just be honest with that.
Yeah, we just don't practice it. We don't practice, religion or anything. We're just open.
I mean, I think what a lot of people who maybe fall away from the faith, they become disenchanted with the cultural American Christianity, right? It may not even be maybe the biblical Christianity. Just potentially, I'm not saying that's the case with you, because I don't know the specific things that you were wrestling, but I see that a lot. A lot of people have bad experiences in church. They get hurt by the church, and it is like I am in that place, and I have been for I haven't gone to church regularly in probably 15 years, man, since 2013 or 14, somewhere in there. And I just don't like the dog and pony show and the fakeness, man. I cannot show up and put on a smile and I want to, if I'm having a rough week, I want to be able to go to church and be I don't know, just be grumpy. And I guess some people are, but I just really couldn't deal with the emphasis on putting on a show on stage, and I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen what mega churches are doing these days. It's just it's ridiculous, insane, bro. Joel Osteen and some of these other guys, Kenneth Copeland. But I was just curious, Zach, what are some of the things that you were confronting? Was it eschatological stuff? Was it predeterminate or determinism versus free will? What are some different things that you were wrestling with, man?
Things like taking the narrative in a literal manner. I started to become convinced that I started to step away from biblical literalism, and things started chipping away from there. I was listening to a lot of debates at the time. I really became fixed with watching several debates, Christian versus atheist, and listening to all the different atheists and philosophers and Christians and Christian apologists. And biblical history was a big one for me, I think. And like I said earlier, I was just fixated on the truth. I wanted to know what was true, the actual truth. And that is a deep philosophical question in itself, because what is truth? And I see that as my lived experience. That's the only experience I know. And reading about supernatural events and hearing about radical things and beliefs and things like that just started to not click with me anymore. I started to raise the bar a little bit for people that held more superstitious beliefs or brought up supernatural talking points, ghosts, spirits, demons, angels, wizards, who knows, just whatever. I started to raise the bar for a lot of that. And basically just doing a lot of hardcore research and questioning into those topics to find that I didn't see any legitimacy to them. Not to say you can't find wisdom in the biblical narrative or anything like that. I mean, people's definition of truth varies, from person to person. But I think with me, it was just an observation of those things, and things started to chip away from there.
Yeah.
And I guess you could just say I'm in that agnostic camp when it comes to a lot of that.
It would be cool though, just to like, instead of going to church and having somebody stand on stage and preach to a crowd, have it to where everybody comes together and has this big giant discussion. You know what I mean?
Dude, I do that every week.
Yeah.
It's like 14 people on a Zoom call, basically.
Oh, okay, cool.
And about half the people will meet in Nashville just at somebody's house.
Yeah.
And it's literally like,
cool.
Like we just talk about the Bible.
That's healthy.
My friend is a Quaker, and that's what they do. Yeah, they meet at like a building.
That's our church, like that, which I think is probably closer to what
the definition of
a
church
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be to me. Like, instead of being like, and this is how this happened, and that's, and then people feel like they have to respond and say, "Amen." Yes,
and
you're right.
I think people just had a high standard for us. They expected us to be this thing.
Yeah.
That was.
Oh, you believe what I believe, to a T.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then as soon as you put on the Cannibal Corpse or the decapitated shirt, it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Mine's
Hey, how's your
Satan.
walk? How's your walk? Is everything okay?
Yeah.
How's your walk?
Yeah.
I didn't see you at church last week. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Things just explode, and eventually it had to come out that yes, I've been going through these changes. No, I don't have it all figured out, and I'm going through the process. I share some views online openly, and it blew up into a big toxic thing, and you started to see divisiveness within Christians, like saying, there goes another one, they were never Christians to begin with.
Looks like the devil got him.
Yeah, just very, very critical. And then other people that were like, why are you guys being so judgmental of these guys? And it was just like, it became a big toxic thing on like Christian underground metal circles, Reddit threads.
I bet,
online,
man. I bet. Like, but you have to try to answer those questions, and it's much more noble to go on that quest of answering, trying to get your problems worked out that you might have with the Bible, whether it's supernatural stuff or whatever. I commend you for doing that, man, because if you do come back to the faith, I think it'll be even stronger because you worked that stuff out. And a lot of Christians just blindly believe, and they just show up and do the motions every Sunday or whatever. But like, are they really that invested in, did they really believe what they what they say they believe?
It's like, oh, you're not Christian anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like,
there was that.
I used to like you, but nah. I'm
there was
cool.
that disassociation.
That's whack.
Yeah,
it was like,
why do we treat people like that?
It led me to the opinion that certain people did not care about me or this band. They only cared about what our particular theology was or our personal beliefs, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. And some of those feelings, I think, were expressed in the last couple of releases when I started being more open about this experience, through our lyrics.
Yeah. Like, I lost all respect for you.
Just
I
completely.
followed you guys every album. Now I'm done.
Yeah, they're like, add
like,
them to
dang.
the growing list, and it's like, you don't know my experience. Like, you don't know what I've been through.
They don't know you personally.
Yeah.
What you just said, man. Sorry, I was like on my phone, like.
You're good. No, you're good.
Cody Bloom is coming on the show. Do you guys know Cody?
No, who's that?
He does Shuttle City booking. He's in a band called The Human Condition.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's coming on.
Okay, I know
He'll
Human
probably be
Condition.
here as you guys are rolling out. But
sweet.
But what you just talked about, were once people realize that you're not the person that they thought you were in their mind, like they have an idea of who Zack Plunkett is in their mind. But as soon as you break from that mold, they want to throw you out like a piece of trash.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like that is terrible. And the fact that Christians do that it's unbelievable.
Right. It's easy to get behind your computer screen and talk all that, and type everything. But it's like, man, come out to a show and talk to us,
And
I mean?
Come to a show.
Yeah,
man.
face to face.
Well, I don't go to non-Christian shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in a way, I kind of get it, because when I was younger too, I used to kind of have the same thoughts of bands, questioning if they're Christians and buying CDs and going to the thank you list to see if they thank God and then criticizing their band shirts and stuff and questioning things. I mean, I get it's a part of the growing process to be young and, you know, kind of think that way when it comes to deeply held beliefs. But yeah, that's pretty much that whole situation. And
yeah, man, like I think when I was a kid, like I did find a lot of solace and a lot of encouragement when you find the sick Christian metal band and like they're like solid in their faith and they talk about their faith. Like that was very exciting to me as a kid.
Yeah.
But you know, then I moved to Nashville and I started hearing stories from like not Christian metal bands, but like worship bands and traveling Christian rock bands, and they're banging chicks on the road. They're doing coke, like they're like doing like the stuff that any other band would do.
Right.
And it's just like, man, you can really fool a lot of people like with your image, and you know what they're doing? They're using God as a barrier to live however they want. You know, as long as they get on stage and they say the right stuff.
Right.
And that stuff makes me sick, man.
Yeah, and it's
makes
like
me want to write a slam metal song right now.
Let's go right here, right now. I mean, that's just the thing. Like, why are people putting so much stock in other people? You know, like if you're a Christian, like, it just seems like a lot of people are just focused on what other Christians believe. You know, like they're just putting so much attention on the people and not like their conviction and their faith.
How about spend time encouraging someone else or like learning something that has to do with your faith?
It's very like line in the sand sort of.
They just care about what people
like,
think about them, you know, like their image, you know.
That's mental. Yeah, that's not good. Well, thanks for talking to me about that, man. I know it's maybe not the most fun thing to talk about.
You're welcome.
And it's something I see like once, like I'm in a couple Facebook groups, like Christian metal Facebook groups, and it's like once a week I see someone post about Impending Doom's bass player is wearing a Cannibal Corpse shirt. And it's like, dude, I'm like, dude, are we really gonna do this again? Like,
yeah, that's David. Like, he's always worn Cannibal Corpse shirts.
It's as long as I've known that band, and it's because like when you play extreme metal, you're a part of a community that has people that with different belief systems.
I mean, like non-Christians started death metal pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the ones who started it, so why not represent? You know, like
I mean, Cannibal Corpse is the OG. Like they're I look up to that band, and of course their lyrics are totally vile, but it's like,
oh yeah,
I mean,
but
you tell me you don't watch a violent TV show or
and
movie?
That's
exactly. Give me a break.
When I was like, you know, like really Christian, I was wearing an Oceana shirt. This guy in this gas station said, "I don't like your shirt. It's very offensive. It's like a drawing of some dude getting impaled." Like, you watch, what do you call it? That zombie,
The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Do you like Walking Dead? He's like, yeah. He's like, dude, that's way more violent than this cartoon drawing on my T-shirt. That's what I told him, like straight to his face. I was like, this is crazy, you know?
Yeah.
It is crazy. So what's coming up next for Abated Mass of Flesh? Like, what you guys plan on making another record? I mean, you just put one out a couple months ago.
We've kind of been evaluating that. I would say we've been talking about what our next plans are, and I think that just given the response and how receptive people were to like Rebirthing the Vile, it definitely like encouraged us to like, let's try doing more of this stuff on our own.
We're gonna get more mics, and then we're moving to a different storage unit that's a little bit bigger. So once we get settled in over there,
storage place is just like a couple units down.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. But yeah, like
baby.
take our craft and take our method for what we did with Rebirthing the Vile and just improve on it.
We're gonna kind of just move from there to that unit to a new unit, start fresh, set up our new mics, and then probably start writing a new album. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you guys you're not using any guitar amp sims or like, no. I mean, I'm assuming you use plugins, but
just
no plugins.
Just like a DI for Grant's bass. It's like a cab sim. I use GarageBand, so yeah.
You guys made that album with GarageBand?
Yeah. Hey, we've made it.
Oh yeah, it's really no
excuses, people.
Yeah, no excuses. GarageBand, it works.
I love GarageBand.
Yeah,
I do that with all
they
my
have-
ambient music.
you can-
I use. Yeah.
There's if you get down to the nitty gritty, there's a lot of automation and there's a lot of EQing you can do just right there.
Yeah, you get you an iRig too, and
Yeah,
plug right.
I would have everyone's like EQ presets, and we just like load up a new track. Here's Grant, here's Topher,
Yeah.
here's Zach.
And he would just
Ready to go.
send me the stems, and I would mix them at home.
Yeah, I put all the stems on like a Google Drive file, and he would mix them at the house.
That's sick.
Yeah,
Something that really bugs me lately, like in the guitar community, is like there will be these guys that have like 30 or 40 like tube amps, you know, like all
Yes.
like racked up in
Yeah.
their house, you know, like it's like $1 million worth of tube amps,
Yeah.
which is sick. But they're not putting records out, dude. They're not making anything.
I know.
These,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Can I have one?
how
Can
about
I
you
have
get
just
one
one?
amp, bro?
Yeah.
And make one freaking song.
No,
with
we,
that one
we
amp.
got friends that have like so many pedals and stuff. It's like you don't have no solo projects or anything. No, I'm just like playing with it. Like, just
Yeah.
play-
I mean, that's a hobby. Like,
Yeah,
it's like a
hobby.
It's a noise making hobby. Like I
It
love
is.
knob tweaking. Like that's sick. But
yeah.
I'm just like, just make stuff, man. Put it on Bandcamp.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
do
we
wanna
something,
hear
bro.
You have
Like,
nothing to
we wanna
lose.
hear
You
this
have
stuff.
you got to put something out with this. You know.
It seems like such a and people with like my buddy. I was helping him do yard work today, and he was one of his jobs was selling a guitar collection for a guy that passed away recently. God rest his soul, but. He was a bass player that had 30 Les Pauls, like all like rare collectors, right? Like Joe
Yeah.
Bonamassa type stuff. You know who
It's
he
like
is, the blues guitar
stacking
player?
gold or something.
Yeah, I guess it's like maybe it's a store of value. You know? It's like
must be. I don't know.
it's like Boomer Bitcoin or something. I just find
Boomer
that to be
Bitcoin.
it's kind of like grotesque to me to have like 32 amps. I don't know, man. I guess if you have a YouTube channel or there's guys that reamp records, you know, metal records, like
Yeah.
that's cool. You need the different sounds.
You see that they're putting Billy Strings on the Cryptopsy album, like the re-recording. I was like,
is
what
up with that?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I love Billy Strings.
Yeah, dude, he rips.
You
Man.
saw Billy
Yeah.
Strings, right?
Yeah, I did. I saw him at Bridgestone.
Me too.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you were there?
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
I saw him first night.
First night with like the stand-up bass.
Yeah.
And, there wasn't a drummer that night.
No,
But
dude. Yeah, that was sick.
yeah, they had is it Widespread Panic's drummer played with him the second night?
Really?
Yeah. I got to
Dang.
No, not Widespread Panic. Oh man.
Cannibal Corpse's drummer.
No. Yeah. Dude, a metal drum kit with Billy Strings. That
Yeah.
was so sick.
Yeah.
man.
I saw that. I don't know. I saw that he was part of the re-recording for that Cryptopsy album, and I was like,
There's
okay.
a lot of good shows coming through Nashville. We have Torture coming.
Oh,
We've
yeah,
got
Torture's coming Monday.
Devourment.
Torture Monday.
We had like Devourment and Suffocation's been through quite a bit.
They're
Yeah.
coming. When is Devourment?
Devourement's coming back on July 5th.
Right. Yeah, we
I
gotta go.
gotta go to that.
Yeah.
Suffocation,
rules.
Body Box.
I've never seen Devourment, so I'd
I'll
love
probably
to see.
leave
it.
before-
Yeah.
I'll probably leave before Carnifex plays.
So
Yeah.
I saw Devourment, and I think it was 2009 or 10 with like Cannibal Corpse, Vital Remains, and Dying Fetus.
Wow, you
at
saw
the
Vital
end.
Remains?
Yeah,
That's
dude, it was
sick,
an
dude.
insane show. Devourment was killer.
Didn't they wear
I'd
like
like to catch them
the horse
again.
mask on stage?
Sanguisuga Bog and Putrid
Bassist
Stew are
wore a
coming
big
through.
rubber horse mask, and he
Well,
was
sang with Sugabog.
saying, yeah, for
Cody's
sure.
my main like influence. That's what got me started like recording.
Mr. Putrid Stew.
Yeah, Mr. Stew, I love you.
Is that the drummer
Yeah, Cody.
who plays with a rolling kick pad or whatever?
Yeah,
Nice.
he does.
Love it, dude.
Yeah, he's
I love seeing the diversity, you know, like in these different bands that are coming through, you know, like I think it's awesome, man. Like there's a lot of crazy good hardcore bands coming out, and just people doing stuff different, you know, like Peeling Flesh, you know, it's just like
Yeah.
who would have
Yes.
thought that would be as big as it is? You
Yeah,
know?
we got to have their drummer on one of our albums.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
The existence.
Joe.
Michael
that guy's
and
a
Joe.
monster.
He was on the Existence Team of Suffer in our
The red
yeah.
pink one.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was him.
all it's gonna take is we got to get one Hate 65 video of you guys just ripping, you know. And,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
Probably.
just gonna take one video, and you guys will be.
Oh
blown
man,
up.
yeah, they definitely put out some good content. I've seen plenty of good shows through that
Yeah.
outlet.
You've seen the Dying Fetus?
Yes.
that is like one of my favorite videos,
Yes.
dude.
Yeah.
To watch. It's so good.
I haven't seen it. What's it? Is it just?
It's just like that. It looks like they're playing in like a hotel. or
Yeah.
something.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But
That
it's
was
just
was-
hardcore.
Was that the
kids.
hardcore show, right? That
Yeah,
was like
they play. It's Dying Fetus doing what they do, but it's all hardcore kids just losing their minds.
That's cool.
because their riffs are so mosh worthy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
because
and
we
you
got
can
like
see-
we play a lot of hardcore shows. So we got a lot of hardcore dancing.
I love the
over our
hardcore
slam
dancing.
riffs and even death metal riffs will be tremelloing and they'll be out there like ninja kicking. And stuff.
We've seen like this hardcore and slam kind of emerge lately, and like I was
Beat
saying
down.
earlier, like
Yeah.
we're getting moshers at our shows a lot more now than we did before. Just it seems like every show we're playing, and like you said, there's a lot of hardcore bands based here in Nashville, and playing Arcane, these more intimate spaces and stuff. Like people just rage and throw down to it, so it's cool to see like this new energy.
yeah,
You know,
I think it's like I've heard people say it's like jazz was in the 20s or something like that. Like, where it's just like popping off.
What's crazy,
Like,
though,
yes,
a lot
everyone's
of our-
dancing and going nuts.
A lot of our fans are like 18, 20, like that been coming out. That was like what a 16-year-old girl came with her dad. Remember that?
It was like
Yeah.
her
She's
first
like,
metal show.
This is my first metal show. Can I get a shirt?
It is- it is so-
Figured out to start with the more extreme stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It
show
is
my dad how
so
cool I
yeah.
am.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Start right.
it's so inspiring. Like there's like so many people and so many kids that come up to us and say, "You guys were the first slam band that got me into the genre," and it's like, wow, like really? That's
It makes me
insane.
feel old.
Huge compliment.
Like
yeah,
seeing a 16-year-old come out, like that's like half my age, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we feel like
it's a huge compliment, man. It's
Yeah.
that's the most fun thing for me is being able to impact young people the way I was impacted. It's kind of
Yeah.
like this cyclical sort of thing where it's like, man, I got so
Pass the
stoked.
torch.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, man. Like listening to X Toll and Living Sacrifice as a kid, like
oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
I got
yeah.
so stoked, like seeing like I saw Living Sacrifice. That was one of my first shows. And then getting to do the same thing,
Yeah.
it's like a real honor. You
That
know?
was a cool thing playing with the Living Sacrifice.
Yeah,
we
we-
played the Living Sacrifice in what was it, Fort Worth?
It's in Texas.
Texas.
Right before the pandemic, like literally right before it, we
Yeah.
got to open for Sacrifice. So I was like, I can check that off my.
Yeah,
They were
dude.
sick.
list.
They were so tight.
Such a
Yeah.
sick band,
Yeah.
man.
And
Really
Bruce
cool.
is always in Nashville hanging out, and he's
Yeah.
come out to some Abated shows too, and it's really cool talking to him, picking his brain a bit.
Yeah,
you know.
dude, he's a cool guy. I haven't really gotten to hang out with him, but he would be an excellent candidate for this show. I'd
Oh,
love to
yeah.
get him.
Oh yeah.
Get him
So-
on for sure. Yeah, and
Gotta
it's
make
cool
that
to see.
happen.
Like, there's a lot of Christian metalhead dudes that live here in Nashville.
Yeah,
Yes.
Fill-in members from Demon Hunter live here, and
They live like right down the road from Jeremiah.
Jeremiah,
yeah.
live like
Jeremiah Scott is his
Mhm.
name, right?
Yeah, he lives in Eagleville,
like
which is
5 minutes away from us.
Yeah,
and,
he's like right
Oh,
down-
really?
Yeah.
I thought he lived in Clarksville.
No,
Oh, maybe I'm mistaken.
yeah, he's in Eagleville as far as
got
I'm-
a
as far
farm
as I
out
know.
there and a house out there.
Yeah, his
so.
studio looks sick. One of the last bands that was on, Fuzz Ripper. I think he mixed Fuzz
Oh,
Ripper's
yeah.
record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
They're
got
kind
his
of
own
like a melodic
studio.
Metal band.
He asked us to come out there and record. Oh, when he asked you, right?
No, he a past member was handed down his contact information, and he kind of slid us his number to work with him.
Oh,
And
okay.
I mean, it would be convenient. He's just like 5 minutes up the road, but
Yeah.
like,
That would be
that would
cool,
be cool,
man.
especially being Demon Hunter being one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
To be able to meet Jeremiah and work with him.
I mean, we got to meet a lot of cool, like bigger musicians, like Entheos' drummer.
yeah.
Oh, Naveen. Cobra.
Naveen.
Naveen.
He's been
He
talking
came to one of
Naveen.
our shows.
Yeah.
Really cool
At
guy.
the Cobra, yeah.
Yeah, that was an early band I was listening to when I was young. Was Animosity. Like
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
dude, we were playing pool with each other at the Cobra.
Yeah.
He came out to our show and we played pool with him.
He's such
Yeah.
a humble dude.
I was like, man,
nice
it's cool.
guy.
I'm playing with a
Super
drummer
nice.
for Animosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really
That
cool.
band's super sick, man. Yeah, I watched another interview where you mentioned Animosity.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like when you were just a little boy back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah, the LimeWire
I love
days.
the pictures of Matthew when he was a little tight.
I was all like,
He's so funny,
clean
man.
shave.
Yeah, the no beard
I had,
is what
I had
it
like
does.
gel in my
Glasses,
hair.
glasses. You have braces and some.
Hey guys, I'm an Abated Mass of
I would,
Flesh.
I would just like to make really brutal songs about Jesus.
yeah.
It is funny in hindsight, just looking back 15 years and just how much change affects people, and just seeing like how different we were back then, just youthful, and just full of energy and ambition.
I was 9 years old.
And Topher, like,
Did you know?
Topher was like,
yeah, I was a baby, so I didn't.
Topher was like,
You're playing with
apparently he
action
was.
figures, but soon you'd be behind the
I
drum
mean, I
kit.
knew about them. I'd listened to Abated before.
Yeah,
Your time will come, Topher.
yeah.
he was saying like he's known about us before
yeah.
he even joined the band, so it was kind of
Just
cool.
'cause
Like,
well,
Christian metal
it's
is just
crazy
like, was a big part of my life
'cause
for a
when-
while.
our old drummer left.
It's funny how you guys he started coming into Christianity whenever he was around in high school, right?
who?
You coming
Um,
into.
getting deeper into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's about the time that I was like fading out of it because I was born.
You were born
raised-
into it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much raised up in it.
It was crazy. Our old drummer, like, you know, he's like, "Oh, I'm moving to Washington." So me and Zach were like, "Damn, you know how hard it is to find a drummer?" And I went to this house show in Murfreesboro, and I was playing.
Oh yeah, slab and no scrotal erosion.
Yeah, I was
They were
playing a noise set.
Scrotal erosion.
Yeah, I have some
Let's
buddies.
go.
who
So
scrotal erosion.
I closed that show out. I played a noise set and with my pedal board and did gutturals, and he was in the crowd, and I was like, I went up to him and I was like, he's like, "Dude, you're sick." I was like, "Thanks." I was like,
We
"Hey,
talked
you,
for a while.
You play
yeah.
drums, right? Aren't you in Piss Fetish? You do like all that drums by yourself?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll play all the drums." I was like, "So you did those drums?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, you want to be in Abated Mass of Flesh?"
He sent me the recordings and like
I sent
was,
Zach the link.
Yeah, it was like that night we talked for a while and then I went home and it was like the next morning at like 9:30 I was at work and I got a text from him or you on Instagram
Yeah,
and I was like, "Hey, do you want to play in Abated?" I was like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Here's Zach. Here's Zach's number."
"Yeah."
Yeah, the rest is history.
And then they started texting each other, and we started a group text.
Started making
but, you know,
out.
Yeah, we started making
He
out.
was, Topher was doing stuff
Nights
in
and nights at
a
his
band
house.
called Woven around the time, and we
Yeah.
in other bands have shared shows and been on similar bills. So
well,
there
we
was
didn't
like
know
a
you
loose
could play
connection.
drums like that. You know,
Yeah.
pop, 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 pop. Friggin-
Yeah, I was in like a shoegaze band for a while.
And then Grant, we've known Grant for
yeah.
years.
I
now.
met Grant first because I worked with him
Yeah.
at Whole Foods. Yeah, so
Yeah. And when we
used to
we
make.
started. We were making music together. Yeah, it's for
Yeah, come
fun. Yeah.
Love
you, Big.
Oh, bring it in, bring it in. Come on.
Bring it in,
it's like
brother.
we get close. Yeah, we started.
Which Whole Foods did you guys work at?
It was
Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin. Yeah.
Franklin. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, do you guys want? What else do you want your fans to know? You know, like maybe we could just go around. How can people follow you guys? Drop all the socials and just I don't know, any closing statements that you might have. You can
Yeah,
drop them
I'll
here.
close it out with the links and everything. I guess just like Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, all streaming platforms. Bandcamp's been a huge thing for us too because we obviously like sell all of our merch on there and it
Yeah,
helps us out quite a
blow
bit.
up the Bandcamp if you want some merch, guys. Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
buy
So
it.
that
There's
definitely
plenty of merch
helps.
on
And,
they'll ship it to you.
Oh
and
yeah.
for me, just thank you to all the supporters over the years that have
The ones
encouraged
who
us,
stuck around.
the ones who stuck around and been supportive and encourage us to keep going, helping us stay motivated. So yeah, we definitely appreciate the support, and there's definitely a lot more to come from us, and we're not slowing down. So
Yep.
Heck yeah. Well, guys, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for driving over here.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I'm super stoked to see you guys rip again tonight. I'm gonna be.
oh man,
I don't
thank
know
you.
if it gets heavy enough. This big old guy might get in the pit.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Hey,
Watch out.
you were throwing down at the 58, so
yeah,
You were.
it was too heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't. I couldn't avoid it. I mean, you only get to be on this planet one time,
Right.
as far as I know.
You might as
true,
well.
man.
You might as well have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
have some fun.
So, but yeah, I'm eternally grateful for you guys. Thanks for hanging out.
No,
and
thank you.
We're about to
Of course.
smash
This is a
some
pleasure.
Italian beef sandwiches if you're
Yes.
hungry.
Okay, sweet.
Heck yeah.
Let's do it.
Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.